Hello, and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Elden Ring, and I'm going to be showing you 5 new katanas that are pretty awesome in the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. Now, 2 of these are going to be regular katanas that will slot right into any other katana type user that you want to do, and they're both pretty dang good. And then the other 3 are Great Katanas, which is a new weapon type. But I figured I'd start with all of these to please the Elden Ring weeb gods that really love katanas as a weapon type in the game. And to be fair, they are pretty dang good, and I'm sure there are going to be some excellent builds centered around all of these weapons. I'm not going to show locations in this video, but I do have a location guide linked in the description. It's a very useful video that shows pretty much all the weapons in this DLC, and so you can just go through the timestamps and select which weapon you want. It's a great video, and I can't really do it any better than that, so I figured I would just spend the time taking a look at the weapons, and yeah. So we're going to start off with this one I have equipped here. It's called the Sword of Night. This one is a quest reward for going through a quest that you can start up at this cathedral here, the Cathedral of Manus Mitre, or Meter, however you pronounce that. You will get it at the end of that quest line. I don't want to spoil it because it's a fun quest line, but that is how you get your hands on this one. For this one, you can see we've got a lot of physical and then some magic damage on it. Has for attribute scaling dexterity of B on here, strength of 11 and dexterity of 20 required to use this one, and it causes blood loss buildup 45 for this one. So as far as move sets on this one, we've got our one-handed, we've got our heavy attacks, and then we've got our two-handed light attacks, and our heavy two-handed attacks. And so our weapon art on this one is this cool, very large area attack where you can do quite a bit of fast damage all at once. I don't unfortunately have 2 of these, so I can't do a dual wielding one, but I'm sure it's very cool. So that is the Sword of Night, our first katana in the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. Let's take a look at the next one. Our next one is one that I did not know was a katana until I actually looked and saw that it was, and it is the Star-Lined Sword. This is a pretty cool weapon. I quite enjoy this one. You can see for this one we have attributes required: 10 strength, 21 intelligence, and 23 dexterity. This one causes 45 blood loss buildup. For scaling, we've got D strength, D for intelligence, and B for dexterity. And you can see we are mostly physical damage with, of course, a pretty sweet magic boost. Our weapon art on this one is Anzi's Line of Stars. So starting off one-handed, here's our light attack moveset. Then we have our heavy one-handed, which is just a big heavy thrust followed by a backhand slash. Then for our two-handed light moveset, and then our two-handed heavy. And then for our weapon art. So you can see that we get this big sweeping slashing attack that gives us a lot of additional range over the regular length of the sword itself. Very useful and powerful weapon attack. Or weapon art, I should say. But that is our second katana added with the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. Moving on to our Great Katanas, we start off with the one called the Great Katana. This one, I think, looks pretty dope as far as larger weapons in the game go, because it's just a super oversized katana. This one, we have 14 strength required, 18 dexterity, attribute scaling of D for strength, C for dexterity. You can see this is just a ton of physical damage. This one, of course, is a standard weapon, so you can change the art of the Ashes of War if you want, but it starts with the overhead stance. And so here's our one-handed moveset for light attacks. So we get a slash, another slash, a thrust, and then an overhead chop. Our heavy attacks for this one are these big, heavy, sweeping chops. Switch over to two-handed. There's our light attack moveset. And then our heavy ones. And of course our weapon art, or Ash of War, currently on here. We have this overhead stance, which allows us to do these big chopping attacks with the light attack. And a heavier burst one with the heavy attack. So you can deal a tremendous amount of damage just using that overhead stance weapon art on this one. But honestly, very cool weapon. I love the new category of weapons because they obviously give you a lot of the advantages of great swords and curved great swords in the game. But of course, it leans into that Eastern influence with our, samurai-type katana-ish weapons. And I do think they move a little bit faster than a lot of the options we have, so you get a lot of power, but also a lot more speed than we've gotten with some of the great swords that we already had in the game. So that's the Great Katana. Next up, we have the Dragon Hunter's Great Katana. This one is a little bit more out there, doesn't look as much like a real-life katana, but you can still see the influence. For me, personally, when I look at it, it just looks like a curved greatsword, but it's a pretty sweet weapon. As far as stuff for this one, we have a required 15 strength, 20 dexterity. Attribute scaling is C for strength and dexterity. This one causes blood loss buildup. We have just a ton of physical damage for this one, so it's not split between anything. And we have the Dragon Wound Slash weapon art. So our movesets for one-handed light attacks. Then our one-handed heavy attacks. Two-handed light attacks. Two-handed heavy attacks. And then our weapon art. So, pretty awesome weapon. This one does a ton of damage. It has a very effective weapon art, especially for fighting some larger bosses, which I have used it against in this DLC. So, overall, very effective, and I think it will fit into what a lot of people that play Elden Ring really enjoy. And finally, we have Rakshasa's Great Katana. I think I'm pronouncing that right. This one gets a little bit closer to looking like a real-life katana. Of course, super oversized, but more so than the last one we looked at. Just, a really big oversized katana with some red accents. So definitely feeds in the whole edgelord vibe. As far as movesets on this one, we have our one-handed light attacks. Then we have our one-handed heavy attacks. So just a lot of thrusting. Then we go to two-handed. And then two-handed heavy attacks. And finally, we can move on to our weapon art. So it allows us to chain these big sweeping, stepping forward strikes. And that is it for our katanas. So like I said, we have 5 of them. We have the Sword of Night, the Star-Lined Sword, the Great Katana, the Dragon Hunter's Great Katana, and Rakshasa's Great Katana. Like I said, all the locations for all of these different katanas can be found in that video that I'll have linked in the description. I was going to do a individual location guide in this video here, and sure, that probably would have been more convenient for the people just looking for these couple weapons, but like I said, I used the video in the description to find them, so it's only fair that I send people that way so they can see that video. And also, I couldn't have done it any better than that video, so why not just link that one? So that's all for today. Hope you enjoyed it. I might do some more videos like this. Still haven't decided yet, but that's all. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.